Okay, and it works through several stages. The first stage of cancer development is initiation. Now this stage is where if all of it starts, it's all in the rogue cell mutating stage, and this stage is irreversible. We can't change that rogue cell from growing, okay? But typically, okay, this is typically the body says, aha, this is a foreign invader, this is not normal, so thus let's get rid of it. So that's typically what happens during that initiation stage. You have the cell growing, but the body recognizes this is not part of us, it's not good, and it gets rid of it, okay? But there are certain situations where this cell can be damaged and it can be allowed to grow and proliferate. One of the things that will help this proliferation is carcinogens, okay, or carcinogens. Now, what are carcinogens, okay? Here is a nice picture of the different mutations. So if we're going to look at the mutations, we can see that you have a normal cell, a cell mutates, and then it creates two of the daughter cells, and that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So cells will proliferate or get larger quite quicker, okay? What are some carcinogens? Well, carcinogens can be chemical, okay? It can be chemical in nature. Certainly smoking has a lot of chemicals, very many chemicals in cigarettes. There's over 300 chemicals. 60 of those chemicals in a cigarette are known carcinogens. Radiation can be a carcinogen as well. Radiation from X-ray exposure, people that lived in Chernobyl, Madame Curie, exposure to radiation. Lots of different changes that can affect the genes in the cells. Viruses are also a known cause for changes in cells. Exposures to different viruses can cause a malignancy or a malignant cell to grow or a cell to transform. And the other, of course, are going to be genetic alterations in our cells. Now that's all in the first stage, the initiation stage. The second stage is promotion. I like to think of the promotion as being like a marketing scheme, okay? If you're marketing a product, you need to promote your product, okay? You say, buy this. You see all these people on TV, buy this. Well, why should you buy it? Well, it's because we're promoting it. We're giving you all the things that make it better to say you really want this. Same thing happens in the body. You need something to promote. The second stage is called promotion, and in promotion, what causes promotion are called risk factors, okay? Things that can add to the soup of creation. Some of the risk factors that we have are fat diets or high-fat diets. It's going to increase our risks for cancers. Same as obesity, same as excess alcohol consumption, same as irritants, having chemical irritants, whether we're breathing them in or constant irritation in our body, whether it's rubbing our skin or irritating our gastric mucosa. Another thing, of course, is smoking. You'll see trends with me with smoking. Physical inactivity. All of these things are plaguing our American culture right now. Immunosuppressants. So your patients that are on immunosuppressant or patients that are older, their immunosuppressants or their immunosuppression is going to be decreased, okay? They're all at higher risk for cancers. And of course, hormones. Hormones aren't always our friend. The third stage that we'll see with cancer is progression. And this third stage, this is where we have the increased growth rate of the tumor, increased invasiveness of the tumor, and the spread of the cancer to different sites. We call the spread of the cancer metastasizing or metastasis. Now, metastasis is the spread of cancer from one area to the other, but how does it do that? How does it get from this little tumor site to another tumor site? Well, what happens? It can happen in two major escape routes. One is the vascular system and the other is the lymphatic system. Perfect highways that have access to any place in our body. So how do they get into these systems? Well, there's a couple of different things that can happen. What happens, certain cancers or cancer cells have different properties. Some cancer cells have detaching properties, so they want to get away from the family or get away from the tumor itself. And other times they have cancer cells that have less adhesive quality, so less glue, so they're not as likely to stick together. And some cancers have actual enzymes in them that cause lysis or breakdown, especially of basement membranes of vessels. So they're able to break through and actually eat through and get access to the blood vessels and to the lymphatic system. Now, this shows a picture here of metastasis. I'm just going to go back one. And this is a tumor, and if we can look at it, you can see all the blood vessels. the cancer cells needs energy, okay? The cancer itself needs energy. It's using energy, it's growing, it's multiplying. Cancer cells create what is called angiogenesis. It creates its own vascular system. So it's not only getting its own vascular system, but it's robbing from the other cells around it. So that again will lead to more cell destruction. So the tumor itself realizes it needs to survive, and how is it going to survive? Well, with oxygen. So it creates its own vascular system. Pretty interesting. So this is how a tumor can break through and actually travel through the highway of the body. So where is the immune system? Where is the immune system in all this? The immune system is supposed to recognize this. What's happening? Why is the immune system not recognizing that there's a foreign invader here? What is actually going on? Well, we call this the immunologic escape. How are those tumor cells flying under the radar? How are they having this immunologic escape? Well, there's a couple things what happen. First, the cells themselves can release suppression factors, okay? And these factors can actually suppress the T cells. The T cells of the body are the natural fighters, okay? They're going to be looking for tumors. So it suppresses that. So the tumor cells in them, the T cells can't look, they can't see, they don't know something's there. Also, they cause weak antigens, okay? So they sneak through. They're not having big admittance, okay? So it's like they're being, they're disguised, all right? Another thing is they decrease the tolerance of the immune system, or the immune system becomes tolerant to these invaders. Another thing is cancer cells can actually cause immunosuppression. So it has this big immune system and it suppresses them. It like puts them under a spell. And the other thing is the tumors themselves can emit suppressor T cells. So you have this whole system where you have an army ready to fight, and somehow it's lulling this army into a less combative state. The other thing it can do is it can actually block antibodies by preventing recognition. So the disguise again. So it's really no wonder that our immune system is kind of up in arms when it has this cancer cell coming into our body. It doesn't always have the ability to recognize that this is a foreign invader. Cells of the immune system that fight cancer. Now, what are they? Well, there's a couple different types. Our army is made up of a lot of different platoons or a lot of different brigades, and some of the fighters on the team are the cytotoxic T cells. They're going to resist tumor growth. We also have the natural killer cells, okay? It should be a movie. The natural killer cells, they directly attack large tumors and lyse tumors, okay? We have macrophages.